Your girl Queen is in the building.
And right now, as we continue our Entrepreneur Him series, got my boy Sir Algernon in the building.
What up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. I'm doing pretty good.
So
still
let's
waking up.
Still wake. Oh, this real early for you, ain't it?
Man.
So if y'all don't know who Algernon is, Algernon is a native of LA. He's here now. He's a fashion designer. He's a self-taught fashion designer and wardrobe stylist. And he said he loves mixing old Hollywood glam with the modern flair. Tell us about that, Algernon. Like, of course, I knew you before I knew you, just from social media, seeing people tag you into your wardrobe styling. But how are you self-taught? Like, that's something I can't get because you're great at what you do. So how did you teach yourself?
Well, my dad was a preacher growing up, so he would be so fresh in the pulpit, and he'd be like, why does pocket square gotta match the shirt perfectly and the socks match the shoes perfectly? Like, how does this work? And so I went into his closet one day and grabbed one of his dress shirts, and I took it apart to see how it was put together.
Wow.
When I put it back together, didn't look like...
That's was it Gordon Gartrell?
Gordon Gartrell, that's exactly what it was. It didn't look exactly the way, it was when I took it apart, but I eventually worked on it and worked on it, and I didn't know that there was an industry set up for what I did. I didn't know that there were fabric stores that had all the stuff that I needed instead of having to take things apart or having to use my mom's curtains and get my ass whooped. But yeah, I just sat down and started teaching myself. I would do everything by hand. I would do whole dresses like with a needle and thread. It would take me forever, but it got me.
Hold on, not with a sewing machine, but
not with a sewing machine, with a needle and with an actual needle and thread. I would do like whole garments. And my mom would be sitting there like, dang, like, you really like this? And she asked me what I wanted for Christmas when I was like, I want to say 14 or 15. I asked her for a sewing machine.
Oh, so, okay. So you were young when you did that.
Yep.
So do you remember your first, the first paid garment that you did?
First paid garment, wow. I did choir rows for our choir.
That's what's up.
That was the first thing, and it took me forever, but I was proud of it. You look at your work, and it's like, oh, wow.
I did that, yeah.
Yeah.
So going from there, like just taking your daddy's shirt apart to making choir robes, how did you go from there to being like a celebrity fashion designer, fashion stylist?
The styling part just kind of came with the territory. After I made so many things for specific clients, they would be like, well, what do I put with this? I'm like, I don't know, just it'll be great. But after making things so much, and then after I'm in my zone, I have music playing and while I'm working, and so while I'm in my zone, it just kind of gives me a whole picture of what the outfit should look like, of what everything should look like, from the jewelry to the shoes to if there's a hat that goes with it, or if there's a certain lip color or it's makeup, that kind of thing. So it all just kind of comes together while I'm working. So
you you just said something. I'm slightly offended because I'm one of the ones that send you a picture like, "Hey, what go with this?" type of thing. So nope, I won't say nothing else.
Nah, I'm good now. I'm good now. But when people started asking me that in the beginning, I wasn't a businessman. I didn't know how to handle all of that yet. So it took a minute for me to kind of work my chops up a little bit, and so now it just kind of comes with the territory.
So let me tell you, and this is something I don't know if I'm supposed to check it.
Mom,
hold on,
I'm trying to call you back.
Good morning on Hits 92.3, the L.I.C.K Morning Show. Yeah, no. It could have been probably was somebody trying to tell us that our car warranty about to expire. But, that happens all the time. But no, like, I remember, like, seriously, I remember when I first met you. I don't even know if you remember. We were at Dream Center, and I knew who you were just because I had followed you or whatever. But I was with Iyanna, and y'all had a conversation, and I shook your hand. I was like, hey, man, like, I have some things I wanted you to do. But you were, like, so nervous. It was like you were real standoffish and kind of really quiet. But I know now that I know you, I know that that's your demeanor. Like, you're kind of shy. So how can you maneuver in the industry that you're in and still, like, because you're still, like, very shy and all of that? Like, how do the two go hand in hand?
It's an interesting dynamic to say the least. I'm such an introvert, and I'm naturally bashful. I'm naturally shy. But when it comes to work, there's a switch, and it just switches on.
Like
and
a Sasha Fierce.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Exactly. There's this switch that just happens when I start working, and when I'm talking about work, and I'm in the midst of other creative people. There's something that just happens, and I can't explain it. I mean, one moment I could be sitting in the corner, just like y'all saw just a second ago.
Yeah.
Sitting in the corner in my own world, but the moment I start talking about my craft and what I asked God for, and the platform that I asked Him for, then that's when it comes alive.
So let's talk about, because there was one thing that you designed that broke the internet, and that was the dress that you made for Lexi that time for the Stylist. Like, it was like, and you know why I like it, like, for real, but like, how did you even come up with that?
The thing is, a lot of people are afraid to mix sexy with your faith.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't understand that God made sexy. He made us sexy.
He did.
He gave us he gave us gentlemen, he gave us a little facial hair to put us on our game, a little bit, So I think we started brainstorming and figuring out what we wanted to do, and I was like, well, let's push it a little bit, because we've always been really safe. I work with her a lot, and we were always very safe, and I was like, let's push it a little bit. And I showed her the idea. She was like, that's pretty high. The slit is pretty high, and I was like, yeah, it is. But she's not, she's never been the one to be tied into specifics, like as it relates to gospel. So we were able to push the limits a little bit. So it was cool.
No, and I actually loved it. That was actually, and then you came back like the year later with like a follow up. Like you thought that was something. Like, let me show you what I can do. So what do you do when, like, how do you top what? Like when the people who are watching think it's the best, and then how do you top what has been your best?
I just compete with myself.
Gotcha.
I don't compete with other people. I don't look at what other people are doing. I look at what I'm doing. I look at what I did last. I look at what I did last that worked, and I look at what I did last that didn't work, or how I put it all together. And if this color worked last year, let's push it to another color this year. If this silhouette worked last year, let's push it to another. Because I'm also still learning. I'm still learning how to sew. Like, I'm still learning certain things that I never knew. So I'm always evolving.
Gotcha.
So once I get to a place where I feel like I'm stuck, I have to kind of pull away so that I can kind of get like a tune-up.
I got you. See, one thing your bio did not say, but I knew just from researching years ago, you're an artist, like music artist.
Okay.
So how did that?
We heard them both.
And it was so funny because I'm like, bro, he's never said that before, but I saw it and I was like, no. So you don't want to do music anymore?
Well, the thing is, I don't have it in me to do it. Like, I still sing. I still love to sing. I'm a worship leader at a church. Like, I still, get to sharpen up my chops in that regard. But I'm from a musical family, so it's just a natural thing. It's just both my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. Everybody does music in some kind of form, whether it's songwriting or singing or playing instruments. I have a brother who plays every instrument you can probably name. So music is it's an inherent part of who I am. And maybe eventually I'll do, something, but for now, we do where the money
where the money resides.
So question, do you sing whenever you sew?
I do.
Is it like therapeutic to you?
Absolutely. Because designing it can be very, very stressful. Sewing specifically can be very stressful as well. You break a needle, and if I'm out of needles, I gotta stop my vibe, get up, run to the store, come back. What if the vibe is up? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it gets stressful. So it's a part. That's a very good question, because it is very therapeutic to sing and to do what I love. And do what I've been doing since I was a kid, while I'm doing the other thing that I've been doing for a while. So yeah, for sure.
Then with the design, because I know some people can hit you up or not understand that it's not like, hey, I can just make this in 14 minutes. What is normally your typical turnaround time for anybody who wants to book you for something so that they can know that they give you a proper time to be creative? And what are the steps to take to get you to design something for someone?
The process depends on what it is. It depends on what the garment is. You know, like I'll say specifically for a wedding, that usually takes like up to a year because, you know, it just depends on how much needs to be done. It depends on the silhouette. It depends on what's exactly being done. I mean, realistically, you know, a lot of garments don't take a year. You know, it doesn't take even 2 months, you know, but just along with my workload, I think that's where it really kind of
and that's what people don't understand because everybody thinks that they're the only customer.
You're my only client.
I get
because I ain't gonna lie, I've thought that before. Like, man, like let me hit him up real quick, see if he can do this. But and it's only because I guess after you build a rapport with somebody, you just like, this is gonna be the person I go to. But you're the go-to person for so many people. Then So tell everybody again if you have anything coming up and where they can find you and how they can book you to be their stylist and or designer.
I'm doing everything via email right now because I'm building this larger than life website. It was my idea. Don't ask me why. But everything is being done via email. Officially, Algernon, Algernon @iCloud. And then my social media is Sir Algernon everywhere. SirAlgernon.
All right. So y'all, that was our second installment of the day with Sir Algernon. Of Sir Algernon. So keep it locked here. Hits 92.3, and we'll be right back with my boy King 6.